Hello there, everyone, and welcome to this next little practicing along with me time together. Welcome to your music bubble. A special warm welcome to those of you on Patreon. This is your weekly lesson, and I've attached a picture with my notes for you in our post today, and also a special warm welcome to those of you on YouTube as well. Yay! The link to the etude is in the description for you, and you're just watching this a lot later. All of the current up-to-date stuff comes out on Patreon first, and so we're just a little bit behind on YouTube. There's 4 tiers, so pop over there and check them out, and I would love to see you there. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we take a look at this beautiful piece, the Sarabanda from the Old Masters series, I want to refer to this blessed book, the Bach Cello Suites, transcribed for viola, and this is the Peters edition. And in the Peters edition, there's a wonderful foreword that talks about the styles of these little Baroque dances. So because we're going to be studying a Baroque dance, I thought that we could maybe take a little look in here. So I'm over on page 5 of the Bach Cello Suites for Viola from the Peters edition. And just a quick little reminder for those of you who might need a reminder or might not know, the Bach Cello Suites are made up of multiple Baroque dances. So a suite has like 6 different dances in it. They're inspired by dances, but they wouldn't be danced to in Bach's day even. They're just inspired by the vibe and the feel. So they start with a prelude, and then they have an allemande, and then a courante, and then a sarabande. And followed by that, you have the minuets or the bourrées, and then the gavotte or the jig. There's all these different kinds of dances that they're made up with. So I'm going to read you what the sarabande is. So the sarabande is the French for Sarabanda, a Spanish word meaning noise or bustle. The dance originated in Latin America in the 16th century and was brought to Spain in the early 17th century. At that time, its character was lively and so shockingly sensuous that it was banned in Spain in 1583. In solo instrumental suites of the late 17th century, like Bach's time, the sarabande became somewhat more dignified. In 3/4, its special rhythmic characteristic, assimilated by Bach in a most natural way, is a leading toward and slight emphasis on the second beat. So instead of thinking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, maybe let's think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And actually, if you look at the piece we're about to play, you'll see that a lot of the longer rhythms in each measure, the longer rhythms, are on beat 2. Let's see what else he says. Sarabandes were traditionally made up of half and quarter notes. Eighth notes were decorative and therefore played freely. With the exception of Bach Suite 5, Bach embellished his sarabandes further by adding 16th notes. So, thank you, the Bach Cello Suites Peters edition. Check this out. This is a magical book, and we're going to take a look at the sarabande now. So before we get started, let's just pop in a couple notes here and there. So let's make sure that you've got quarter note equals 50 in your music, because it says lento, and lento is just really slowly, and 50 is a good kind of range. I mean, you could go slower than that, or you could go a little bit faster than that, but basically slow. Remember, it was called dignified by Bach's time, and that also would correspond with Jean-Marie Leclerc's time as well, the late the 17th century, but the early 17th century, I guess. No, that's not right. 1697 to 1764. I get a little confused sometimes. Anyway, so quarter note equals 50. The other thing is, maybe we make a note that it has a strong beat 2. 1, 2, 3. So you could write 1, 2, 3 and just make the 2 really big, and put a little arrow 1, 2, 3 towards beat 2. Last little thing maybe we can take note of is the key signature, right? In the key signature, those 3 sharps at the beginning. Father Charlie goes down and eats breakfast. I'm sure you've memorized that by now, but that's the order of the sharps. So Father, Charlie, goes. Those are our 3 sharps that we have, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. And I think that will be it, but if we give it a little scan, just those first 2 lines, what's the overall dynamic? It's mezzo forte, and there's some little decrescendos, there's some little crescendos, there's a poco rit slowly slowing down, and then in the first ending it says second da P. So second time we're going to play even softer. So it's a really gentle kind of dynamic. So we might even want to make a note that we want to play this in the upper half of the bow, or maybe even closer to the fingerboard. All right, so let me just demonstrate one little thing before we jump in together, although maybe I should play it first. I'll play it first and then we'll talk about this next little thing. It has to do with where we're going to start in the bow. So maybe notice, am I starting here or am I starting here, and why that might be. So here's the first half here, and I'll put the metronome on. Second time is piano. I'm just using less bow. Second ending. All right, so I think that's going to be it for that. It's not that tricky, and there's not too many tricky rhythms in there. We have an entire video talking about rhythms a long while back where we kind of went in depth talking about rhythms and subdividing and things like that. So I'm not going to necessarily go over that today, but if you have any questions about it, let me know and I'd be happy to try and help you out. Let's talk about where we want to start in the bow. So since we start on a down bow and then we have the value of a half note to deal with after that, if I start here, kind of run out of bow, so I'm starting in the middle and kind of going to the tip of the bow so that I have the whole bow for beat 2. Also, I'm trying to play in a little bit softer part of my instrument, which is around here. When I repeat and do it piano, I'm playing a little closer to the fingerboard maybe and using a lot less bow, but still trying to do those same things, like trying to have that beat go towards beat 2. Anyways, you guys, why don't we call it a day? I hope you enjoy that, and I'll see you next time, and we'll look at the second half. All right, take care.